Hello there, welcome to another video. Got a really old recorded game here from 2005, maybe earlier, not too sure, but given by the names it is pretty damn old. We've got the SitH clan facing off against the Extreme Gamers clan, xGs, with the Rack Lord just filling in there. So we've got Matt in the red, we've got Extreme, we've got Dan here playing in the yellow, and the Rack Lord here as the Green Rebels, and facing off against SitH Advocate, which I think is maybe Waka. We've got Worm, and then we've got Pinto up here. It does come from Pinto's perspective, maybe he uploaded it. So, in this map we've got desert, we've got tons of food on here, because there's loads of Rontos that you can lure across, each one representing 400 food. So that's like I might eat 8 workers for you per Ronto, and there's 4 banthas that you can eat as well. So you can eat the banthas at the start just to keep the food production going, and you can maybe house the rest, as Pinto's doing here, and then get onto the Rontos. That way you get a little bit of a trickle of food income, and you've got the ability to mount as well. Because if you just eat all the banthas, it's a bit slower than getting into these Rontos, because these Rontos will see you all the way into T2, not just through T1. So it might speed it up a little bit just so we can get through the early game, which we all know, we all see every game endlessly. It's the other aspects of it. Oh, mighty Worm misplay. Classic Worm. Going for the food processor. As we've said before, ancient games, ancient connections, tons of lag, but Pinto unfazed, luring his Ronto. What a gamer. Truly ahead of his time. Oh, even Matt's doing it as well, but he is getting the Ronto abuse there. Many damages. But it's all worked out in the end. And Dan, not really playing very well, buddy. On the farms. Tons of food to eat. He was much better than this later on, I think. But that's yeah, that's a bad time. Does he know? You've seen the OPs, you haven't seen the Rontos. Maybe not a lot of communication on that team, but some bad scouting. Oh, terrible carbon as well. I can't watch any more of this, buddy. I'm gonna have to move away. Don't worry though, he was very good at Fort Blood. That's all that matters. So getting into the rest of the game here, everyone's getting their food going, getting their workers built, yada yada. We're going to have longer T1s just because it's back in the day. I've got the game time on, I don't know why it switches itself off. Well, that would annoy me if I were watching, I need to know. Troop Center here for Matt. Double Troop Center for Pinto. Not quite on the Power Core next meta. Good wall though, really nice carbon, like, look at that. So wall it, and then you've got 2 sides that you can munch from. Random map generation was different back then. It really wasn't. Because just look at map space, it's a lot worse. A lot worse. Could have built this further out though. That would be quite nice actually if you put your troop centers in between. So I'm gonna go back to just a little bit over baseline speed, just so we can get into the trooping action, see what's going on there. Made it through the boring T1. I feel like Matt should just take all this boy's Rontos. He's not munching them. So the classic bunch of trooper recruits usually built before people hit T2. It's usually the other way around these days just because of efficiency, I would say. But this is normally what you would see, the troops moving out and then getting upgraded. So Pinto's not quite caught on that Matt's gone right round here, so he could sneak in and get some damage if Pinto goes on the aggression himself. But Matt can't get his production camped because he's built it right next to his command center. It'd be very good for people to just get turrets prematurely because it does give you the ability to just move out. And these workers are getting caught here. Some good damage, and mid-roam as well, the Ronto helping out. And Pinto not reacting at all, so this is quite devastating for him, as his troops try to sneak round. And the worst part here is that his production's sort of camped. If Matt moved over here, he could keep the trooper count down as well. Really spell trouble for him. His reinforcing troops have come over. Do a bit down. I'm going to go down baseline speed. We've got two boys trooping. Advocate rushing over here to the Rack Lord, but the Rack Lord has not got power core, but he does have 2 turrets, so he should probably be okay. Pinto going on the aggression here. At the same time, Matt getting surrounded by some troops here. I think they'll eventually go down so Pinto can have a bit of breathing room, but he is in like a 7 worker deficit or something like that because he lost so many. Nice little hill for him to sit on top of here. At the same time, we've got Advocate coming over here, killing some workers off the ore, and it looks like he's just going to sit on top of this hill. Should maybe be a bit more proactive considering the guy's not really doing anything but building tons of turrets. I got Pinto and Matt taking a fight here. These 2 guys have not joined in though, so Matt is going to clean this up and sort of end the aggression from Pinto there. So I think at this point Pinto might probably just play a bit more defensive, I would have thought, after losing those troops. Gonna sit on this hill, give him a little bit of an advantage here. Extreme has managed to get to T3, so his massive food blunder is not too terrible. He's just a lot further behind than he could be. At the same time, the Mighty Worm is just getting his power core now. Very gotta love Worm. 2 Mech Factory, Rebel Alliance. Great. On you go, son. So there'll be a lot of strike mechs getting built. Got Matt moving some troops around, but I think these boys are just really trying to stabilise each other. Or stabilise themselves, rather. So adding on farms, just try to build up the eco. Pinto is still quite far behind in terms of the workers, because he never really got to kill as near as any. Well, I don't think he actually killed any, really. It's mainly just troops that he traded for. He's moving around here, maybe try to sneak around into the carbon line. Matt very reluctant to build any turrets, just going for a sentry post. Does have a sort of trooper advantage, so if he does sit with him he won't need the turrets, but going into T3 if there's going to be strike mechs getting thrown his way, you might want to. Worm being really defensive here, not being aggressive at all. Mech Destroyer, anti-air turret. Carbon not built across the, right next to the carbon. Excellent stuff. Old school gaming. Let's go. And what has happened here to the Rat Lord? Even with all his turrets, he seems to have lost tons of workers by, I'm assuming, not garrisoning them in time. So Advocate doing a lot of damage here to him. Got him sort of boxed in. He's now trying to hide his workers. Pinto trying to sneak in here into the carbon line, but he's been caught by Matt's troops. So Matt is going to be fine here. And he's sitting on this hill, waiting for an opportunity to attack. I imagine bringing the rest of the troops over into one control group here, he should be able to sort of break Pinto. Not too sure what Extreme's up to with his strike mechs. Need a rally point of here, but I have no idea where they actually are. I do remember he built some, but where did they go? Try to get him to view lock show me. Can't see on this bloody map. Oh well. Got Matt coming in here, killing some of the troops. Looks like Pinto moved down here. Got caught. Mech Destroyer from Worm. Not really what he needs. He's sending these out to his wings, but he needs to get some strike mechs out, I think, or some air. More anti-air turrets for the Mighty Worm. Not making any command centers as of yet. More troops from Advocate. Putting on the pressure here. Okay, that's been two. Looks like Matt heading off to T3 now. He's got these troops in Pinto's base. He's trying to sort of base trade. He's asked Worm to air with the troops, but Worm doesn't have air. Might try to build a defensive line with prefab shelters. I know he's going to get on top of the troops here though. So there's a lot more, and he's going to kill a lot of workers. There's a mech destroyer from Extreme. 2 mech destroyers, but it's not really what he needs. They are going to take a lot of shots though, so with the troops that rally out, he's going to clean this up. He's certainly better off than Pinto, but he has lost a little bit there as well. Just to be honest, it's probably made the gap in their economies less exaggerated. Some speeders out for Worm now. A bit of ego banter between Pinto and Matt in the chat. It looks like the Rack Lord has made it to T3. The heavy Trade Federation troopers killing a command center. The strike mech should really clean this up. He needs to repair. He's not going to repair, is he? Oh, he's baiting me. Or baiting him. Tons of troops with some mech destroyers coming in here. Keeping the pressure on the Rack Lord. Don't think there'll be much out of Pinto and Matt anymore for the rest of this game. Not until they get themselves going again. So it's all about the advocate invasion of the Rack Lord's lands here. A really open base, so difficult for him to deal with this. He's trying his best to micro strikes here, kill off units. Pockets are really not doing much, just being a bit defensive. You can't fault them if you imagine the games are just pure lag. But they do strike me as having fairly good mechanics in a sense, or at least it's just like the decision making that seems really off. I guess with decision making you've only really got to draw off what you've seen from others and such, and if the game's not that fleshed out, the decisions that you would be led to make are terrible. So if I look at Extreme here, he's doing quite well. Got enough command centers, farms, getting an infrastructure up. You know, the layout of the base, not too terrible. But it's just everything's so much slower in terms of the advancement of the game. Speeders are going to scare off these strike mechs here. Keep Pinto alive here. I think this little walling gate the Rack Lord's made. Command centers finally for Worm. Some Jedi Knights as well. Interesting stuff. And a forward here for Advocate. Getting the fort down, reinforcing these troops. I'd like to see, so he's got power core down. I'd like to see some heavy weapons being built, some artillery or some pummels or something. Strikes again, trying to pressure onto Pinto, but the speeders are there, so I don't think they're really going to get much work done. You can see Matt's not really whizzing ahead after hitting T3 now, just because he lost all those workers. He is building 2 command centers. I felt I need to build a couple of mech destroyers himself as well. But there hasn't really been any aggression as such from Worm. Some bombers and some fighters as well. Tons and tons of strike mechs here for Extreme. I'd like to think he's going T4. He can afford it. I do think they get heavy, right? Or am I making shit up? I barely play Republic, I swear. I do get heavy strike mechs. should really be burned into my brain because Brat's probably done it to me 1,000 times. Oh, what are those farms? Pain. Absolute pain. So here comes the artillery with a token destroyer droid. I like it. Keep the pressure on here. And the strike mechs do march off. The 4 Rontos. How did that even happen? Amazing. Right, the strike mechs are coming in here. If Worm's got enough speeders though, like you can just come and wrestle him away, surely. Extreme's still not going T4. Like, T3 only this game. Look at those strike mechs. Tons of damage. Might make Advocate rethink his invasion here and pull back. He says he's got it. So he must have Hollow Net. The Mighty Worm sending his speeders across. Try and deal with this. Advocate's been so aggressive though that he doesn't have much of a economic infrastructure. So if you look at these carbon workers, they're all quite exposed and just getting gunned down like crazy. My eco's owned. Old school internet speak. Yeah, the speeders come in though, and they're going to do so much damage to these units. Advocate's just going to have to maybe double down here. Calling for the A-wings to be summoned. Pinto Boolean Mat a little bit with some air here. And both of them just try to get some command centers spread out, get those workers going. The strike mech's having to retreat back now because of the speeders. These workers looking for a new job. All unemployed. The push continues for Advocate. Really not much out of the Rack Lord here to defend. He's got some speeders, got some fort. Hiding command centers a little bit away, try to boom back a bit. No shields for either player. And Worm's starting to send some units down. He's got some T4 air now. Some air from Extreme to defend himself. There is shields here though and some fast fighter for Worm. So he should really be winning this trade. But he seems to be shooting mech destroyers an awful lot. So he's not really winning the trade as such. Some knights. A bit of a mixed army here for Worm, a bit like an AI. These prefab shelters never ever finished since that Ronto took care of that worker. The artillery completely unopposed, killing off a lot of Lord's base. Fort going down for Worm here. Just lots and lots of mech destroyers. Not the best Republic units, particularly against speeders and such. My god, Extreme's got so much food and carbon. Not getting it used. So he just spent 3,000 carbon on 20 mech destroyers. I guess Worm might run out of speeders. He's built some A-wings as well, mixing them with the fighters. Some strike mechs here, bullying Matt's workers. Matt who's just trying to boom his way out of this. There's the lag. See the unit's getting stuck. Oh, lagging grands. Good combo. So just throwing mech destroyers for some reason at this fort. Could use some cannons. Advocate's still pushing through here, lacing in some upgrades. Certainly doing quite well to keep up the aggression while slowly adding on to the eco. Pinto's eco is starting to look fairly good. If we just had a bit more production. Starting to add on some mech factories now. Help get some damage in. Anti-mobiles clear up the air here. Heavy artillery now for Advocate, doing some damage. Worm, since building this forward, hasn't really built many units. I was almost baited into believing that Crate Dragon was getting all the kills, but it's these strike mechs killing off the workers. Not sure we really stand in this game. I think the SitH boys are doing it though, since Advocates sort of just killed Lord. That has to be like minimum range for the cannon or something. I don't think I've ever seen a cannon go for a fort at that range. Worm with the AC. Beautiful. I love it. Straight into the A-mobiles as well. Big value. I think air cruisers and A-wings are things that were considered extremely BM. A-wings I agree on. Air cruisers not so. I think air cruisers are absolutely essential for some of the Nova races. Just to deal with the ability of the other races to just spam one unit like mech destroyers. Also probably one of the only answers to Mass Jedi as well. Right, we've got some action out here between Matt and Pinto once again. Both have had enough of a breather to get back at it. Both managing to get forts extremely close to one another. A lot of weird stuff happening. Cannons coming out. I think the cannons from Pinto are going to take down Matt's fort here though. Shield goes up, but it's a bit too late for the shield. Though he does have more mech destroyers, they're not brave enough to go and take down the cannons, so he's going to definitely use the fort. Some assault mechs coming in, which in these numbers will be quite effective. There's not too many mech destroyers out. Full upgrades for Pinto here though, and not for Matt. Matt hasn't got any of the health upgrades or the heavy mech the heavy mech destroyer upgrades. This cannon's really well positioned though. Clicking away at this fort here. Looks like Pinto's a way to take down the shield though. If the units stop this, yeah. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 hits for a cannon to kill that fort. Shield will go down in a moment here. The unit's getting on top, try to shoot down the assault mechs. Definitely in Pinto's favour here because he can just spam tons of mech destroyers with all these upgrades that he's already got. Not too sure what's happening over here in the worm side of things. Very strange army comps fighting. Some mech destroyers and ACs, some air here for Worm. Try to take down the Republic mech army. 8 range A-mobiles versus an AC. Pinto wildly ahead in units here. Matt's slowly getting some upgrades. But he's built these mech factories to just throw strike mechs into his eco as well. I think the problem for Matt here is that a lot of his eco is quite close to the front here. So if he does get pushed back even a little bit, he's going to suffer really bad. Worm looking like he's cleaned up this army a bit with the air cruiser. As Republic, I think there are better ways for you to deal with an air cruiser than AA mobiles. Imagine Matt's stockpiling all his units trying to get these upgrades out. Advocate still slowly but surely just killing off Lord. He is now starting to get towards Extreme's base here. You see him rolling in now. And as that starts killing off the workers, I think they're maybe going to break here. Because there's not too much reinforcing this fight against Worm's army. Looks like there's a bit of a pause here. It's now been resumed and Pinto's losing tons of units because half his army is just sitting watching in reserve. You look at the arc, they're practically all firing on them as well. So it's a big win for Matt there. Cannon getting on top of the fort here, doing some damage. It's going to get killed quite quickly though. But these troops are just taking terrible fights here. There's a lag again. And Advocate doing tons and tons of damage to the eco. Shutting down whatever trade the Rack Lord was starting to get going here. Forward fort, some cannons lacing in. Worm sort of just chilling here while shooting at the fort very slowly with an air cruiser, which looks like the shield's just regenning in between every shot. Pinto trying to break Matt here with just superior eco and spamming MDs, but a lot of them are just getting killed. But what he does have is this little army being built from these mech factories here, just going into the eco. You see Matt trying to counter it with his own mech factories, but not doing too well. He's had to pull units away from the front, come and flank these. Should kill them off in like 2 volleys. So I'll clean that up there. But they're just getting smashed from 3 angles. I'm getting some cannons now after realising his air cruiser can't kill the fort. Got Advocate getting onto the eco here. Praising himself in chat, it seems. Pinto, superior numbers here. Matt forced to just sit and stockpile mech destroyers once again. Not looking to take a trade right now. Doesn't want to pull these guys away because he doesn't want units coming into Zico again. These workers over here try to get some carbon where it's somewhat safe because, let's face it, it's not in any of these areas. And just getting A-winged to death. Worm's advancing. Advocate is getting pushed back a little bit here. But done a lot of damage to the eco. And it doesn't really seem to be a win condition for this team. And they're calling for GGs now. And that's probably the end of it. we're just waiting for Matt to GG. God, these must be the first units I've seen out of the Rat Lord, really. In like 50 minutes. These Mounties cleaning everything up. Too little too late though, as Dan's bailed. And Matt calling the GG. Bit of ego bantering in the chat between the two of them. And look at the lag again. Oh. Wouldn't you just love to go back and play then? On a 56k connection. Interesting stuff. It's not the best gameplay, but it is a nice little time capsule into the way things were. And there are good qualities about all the players and how they played the game there. I think what's good about them is that they do seem to have the mechanics to fight and keep building onto their eco. Because a lot of people, particularly now that play the game, it kind of settles down into a way that they can focus on one thing at a time. So they can focus on booming up until about T4 and then be aggressive. Or they can be aggressive a little bit at the start of T3 and then they settle down and boom. There's not too much daunting multitasking. But with the way that these games go, it's kind of there's a lot of multitasking, I would say, because they tend to be fighting. Except for the pockets at the start of this, because they didn't really do anything aggressive at all. They kind of just chilled out, built all the wrong things. But enjoyable nonetheless. As I always say, if you check the description, you'll find the links to get the game if you want to pick the game up again. You'll find the GBG Discord that you can come and join if you want to organise games with people. And you'll find a link to Vubley, which is where I launched the game to watch these in desktop resolution. And if you want to play the game, you can play it in desktop resolution there. And as always, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.